Hello everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clicker with Creators. Today we have Mr. Aditya Vijayraghavan with us. Hello
Hi,
Aditya,
Nikhil.
thank you for
Hi,
joining
Nikhil.
us.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Pleasure is all ours. Aditya is founder and principal attorney, and before starting as an independent practitioner, Aditya had acquired rich experience in the areas of corporate laws, policy, and regulatory, indirect taxes, among other practice areas, having worked with Big Four consulting and law firms, engaging clients across both manufacturing and service sector. So, Aditya, how was your journey starting your
So,
own?
Nikhil, it's a very long story short. I'm sitting at the very place that I actually started my life as a law student, right? This very library that I'm sitting in. This is where my law journey actually started off back in 2013, right? From there, working across like two of the big four consulting firms and law firms. Now I have finally started my own independent practice, right? And we're based out of Chennai. We have an associated office presently in Kanpur, and we practice mostly in the areas of corporate law and taxation. We have been advising startups primarily with respect to their structure, the way to handle compliances and other things. Apart from that, we also represent and advise institutions as well on matters related to corporate laws as well as taxation, right? So this was one, I think it was a very incredible journey up until now, right? With great experiences working with, being under the tutelage of some of the most amazing people that I know who have been mentors to me through my career, right? So, in short, I think it was a good experience up until now. I think there is still a lot more to go as far as this profession is concerned.
Great, great, great. So, Aditya, what do you think about the future of legal services in?
Nikhil, the future of legal services, as far as the Indian context goes, I think it's changing a lot, right? We are moving from, what do we say, from laws to now a very compliance based regime as well, right? So that's seen in the practice areas that I myself am personally involved in representing clients, advising clients, right? There are a lot of compliances that have come up in the realm of company law, in the areas of taxation. And I still think that there are a lot of problems as far as having the ease of doing business, because for bigger institutions, it's a lot more easier to actually comply. Whereas mostly today, there is also a change in the mindset of individually run businesses or owner run businesses, to be very specific, that the next generation wants a very formal structure. They want to be having that structure. They want to be represented in a particular manner. They have certain expectations. So I think the legal field has also changed a lot. In fact, our office not only employs lawyers, but there are chartered accountants, there are company secretaries, so that we can actually cater to the requirement of the client from an end-to-end perspective, right? So it's a one-stop solution for our clients who walk through our doors, right? So that's one of the major changes that have been happening. And secondly, like, given the COVID scenario, I think a lot of hearings had moved online as well. So that was altogether a new experience. Being a practitioner myself, right, representing clients virtually is something that was a little bit tedious to begin with. But yeah, we have gotten accustomed to it. Right? Now the courts have also physically started. So I think it's a lot more easier for us. And in fact, like, it was a good learning experience as far as working with clients, especially meeting the clients virtually rather than meeting them in person, understanding their problems. So I think one thing that has taken a big impact is, I think, communication, right? Because communication, the way we used to have earlier, it has probably changed, right? We ourselves are meeting virtually. So I think these are the changes, and I think there are a lot of other perspectives also with respect to the legal industry today, right? It's not only limited to the age-old litigation and corporate and now compliances, but I think our firm also practices in a lot of niche areas wherein we are catering, helping businesses, in fact, set up manufacturing facilities and other things. We are liaising with the government to actually get them incentives. So these are some niche areas that we are also have started involving ourselves in, considering that the MSME sector is completely left out, right? So this is something that we used to do back in the day when I was uh, professionally employed, right? So now being an employer and understanding like the industry as well. So now we have downsized a lot of services which were otherwise not accessible earlier, right? So that is something that I see it's changing. And secondly, a lot of clients are also very intrigued when they get to know that these kind of services are also available because it's completely unheard of, right? Yes, Nick, we'll
Great, great, great.
proceed. Yeah.
So that was really beautifully explained. So now in the era of legal technology, what are the most commonly used tools for you?
So we started a couple of months back. So our team actually comprises people, my ex-colleagues from Big Fours, like at least most of my team comprises of them. So certainly there were a lot of experiences working in a bigger organization and the kind of technology that they used to implement. Right, it actually made our lives a little bit easier. So what we have tried, so we have digitized a lot of things at the office itself. So let that be accounting, let that be managing of cases. Okay, and also I think one of the most important things which we rely upon on a day-to-day basis are also the databases that we use. So we have subscriptions to Manupatra, we have a subscription to TMI, Tax India Online, and a few others, because primarily these databases are very allied with our practice area. So there is a dependence towards that. And nevertheless, I think books also play a very important role as far as keeping yourself updated. And alongside that, what we have also started doing now is that we have the associates at the office also, we go, in fact, impart live sessions with students, right? So that's also a very interactive session because I think it's a lot more easier to argue before judges rather than teaching students, right? Or presenting a particular subject. Because yesterday itself, I mean, I had a lot of questions which otherwise I didn't expect. So, so technology-wise, there is a huge paradigm shift which has happened, right? And I think we are trying to implement it from the day one itself, right? And it's a lot more convenient to manage two offices across the board because we almost have, in fact, for us, video conferencing is also something which is very important. One, to meet clients, and secondly, to have internal meetings with our associated office as well. So I think there is a lot of dependence upon the technology. I think there will be more in the future, right, of how things are changing. So yeah.
All right. Now, Aditya, please tell us about a complex issue you worked on and describe the complexity and also tell us how you actually approached it.
So so keeping client confidentiality in mind, right? So I think there were a lot of cases that have been really complex, right? Some of them being even at the stage of representation. Sometimes in the cases of actually having from an advisory, giving an advisory perspective to the client, whether to undertake the transaction or what all the challenges that they would face. I think the recent one I was actually working upon an advisory, right? Strangely, because of commercial reasons, the client didn't want it to deal with directly, deal with each other directly with his client. So obviously, it was subcontracted through India, and the Indian company certainly happened to come to us for the advisory aspect. So this presented us a lot of challenges given the complexity of uh, the entire transaction matrix itself. But at the same time, there was certain amount of expectation from the client as well that they wanted the opinion at the earliest, right? So one thing that we have in the office is that there is always a peer review, right, that we do. So there are about four core members in the team right now. So two of us happen to be advocates, and the other one being the company secretary and the chartered accountant. So we had a lot of interplay as far as going through the opinion as well. But end of the day, it came down to the conclusion that we were able to elaborate it in a very reasonable manner to the client as to what would be the implications that they would have with respect to the transaction. So this is one sort of advisory which involved actually three different areas of law. So it involved the aspects of foreign exchange. So certainly RBI regulations also came into picture. Then we also had the implications of withholding taxes in India, and also with respect to goods and service tax, considering that it is to do with services. So this is one sort of the complex matters amongst many that actually come to our office. In fact, like I have had also had the opportunity to actually represent some of the listed clients before the enforcement directorate as well. And apart from that, also before other tribunals, and making their representation in complex matters. So in all, like every case is different, right? And sometimes like it is beyond fathomable at times to see such complex issues, right? Despite of having the best of people working at their office, right? So it happens. I mean, there are a lot of litigative issues presently in law, right? In fact, we take the effort to actually write about it, right? And we also post it on our website as well on a regular basis, on other and on LinkedIn as well, right? So we do address those issues as well. So in all, like complexity, I think that's a part and parcel of law itself, right? So I think that would be a very tricky question to say to speak with respect to complexity.
All right. So, Aditya, as you all know, that time is money in any profession, and in legal, it's most of all. So, how do you
Absolutely.
ensure to make the best use of your time as an lawyer?
So timing is something that is very difficult to manage, right? Out of my own personal experience, clients do tend to demand that you are available to them at the immediate time, right? But that's not always possible. So as a practice, I mean, we are really honest with the clients with our timelines, right? If we can't complete the work, we are very upfront with it, right? Because usually sometimes there have been situations that I get calls on Sunday and the client wants an opinion on Monday, perhaps, right? So given the paucity of time, uh, so as a professional, it also conjures upon me to actually be justified for the fee that I'm charging them. At the same time, they're coming with a trust, right? So I have to ensure both the aspects. So we do tend to spend time, enough time to actually provide a quality deliverable rather than giving something in a haphazard manner. So that is one. Secondly, with respect to managing time, I think today I'm juggling both with my masters as well, because I also happen to do my masters presently in law. And I think it is a great opportunity for me as well, because I am getting to learn a lot from an academic perspective as well. So that is another aspect. And secondly, as a lawyer, I mean, you have to better utilize your time, because being the principal attorney as well at the office, I think there is a lot of client interaction that goes as well. So I represent the firm. So end of the day, managing time is very crucial. I think to be really honest, I mean, I put in my best efforts, but there are things that do slip away at times, right? Because you can't keep controlling everything. So I think the biggest qualities that I have learned out of the years is that be honest to your profession, right? Be honest to your client and be reasonable, right? So these are the three learnings as far as the time goes.
All right, that was again beautifully explained, Aditya. So, thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us, Aditya.
Thank you,
We look
Nikhil.
forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other
Definitely, Nikhil.
topics.
It was a
And
pleasure.
for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Aditya, please like and share this video as much as you can, and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from the legal space. So this is Nikhil for Let's Talk World signing off.